Evening, everybody. Welcome to SAFRL Tier 1 on a Monday night, and we're here for Japan. If you were watching last night, you would have also seen a Suzuka race. So some of the drivers may have already picked up a hint or two. Evening to everyone already in the comment section. Skull, Revolution, Death Queen. It's going to be a good one tonight. Very challenging circuit here, Suzuka. One you really need to commit to if you want to have any sort of decent lap time. But at times, committing to it can be quite scary. One of the classic circuits on the calendar, been on the calendar since the 80s, I think it is. And for many, many years it was the season finale, or the penultimate race. So many championships have been decided here. In fact, both of Fernando Alonso's championships were decided here. Pretty much 50-50 split down the middle on drivers getting out there and drivers deciding to stay in the pits. Track not too busy. Problem now is for, there we go, seems like problem now is for the drivers in the pits. They've got to watch out when they come out. They don't want to come out and impede the drivers on quick laps. Big T deciding to give the intermediate tyre a test. Obviously this season so far, Mercedes-Benz lead the championship. And then a Mercedes-Benz driver leads the drivers. Don Rabico leading the Drivers' Championship by 48 points. It's almost 2 race victories. And then Mercedes-Benz leads from Alpine by 50 points. That is 2 race victories. Those teams will be looking to claw their way back, close that gap to Mercedes. Yeah, just confirming, putting some rubber on the track. I like to have fun with it though. No lap times just yet. Everyone out on track, some on fast laps, some on out laps. Ace of pace, first driver over the line, 28.8. We're going to see lap times a lot quicker than that, I'll tell you that. 28.5, Jacques goes over the line, takes over provisional pole. That'll be for a short period of time. Who's next over the line? I think it's Buffelsfontein. There's too many blue cars on the track. Buffelsfontein goes over the line into provisional pole ahead of his teammate by a half a second. Then we have it's Ferrari. The times continue to come down. 27.7. First man into the 27s. I don't know how to pronounce that. I want to call it Azur. Azur? Azur. I don't know. Azur takes provisional pole position, first man into the 26s, and it's faster than anything we saw last night. Last night provisional pole position was a 27.4. And the gauntlet already being lowered from what we saw last night. Disqualified from the session, Ace of Pace. Ace of Pace has been disqualified from the session. I'm not sure what happened there. Was he maybe getting out of the way of traffic? Was off the track a little too long? I don't see any damage to the car. But Ace of Pace will take no further part in this quali session, and he will start from the last slot on the grid. Currently that is P18, but if anyone does join before the race, he will start further down the field. If 20 drivers start, he will start in P20. For the time being, one Merc tops the field. 26.9, that is the time to beat. Second Merc on his way. Set his first lap time of the evening. It's Don Rabico, championship leader. Mango goes quickest at 27.5. And isn't that ironic? A few moments ago he was saying he hadn't practiced. Don Rabico up onto the second row, 27.3. And I think that is almost everyone's first run. Windsor remains in the pits, but I believe that is a quali ban. Mango provisional pole position, 26.5. Then the leading Mercedes-Benz Azur, 26.9. France, 27.0. Oh, so close to getting into the 26s. Then Don Rabico. What I find funny is all of these drivers just moments ago were telling each other how little they had practiced. Wonder if that was taking these sandbagging techniques to a mental level. Mango 26.5 on his way into the pits. P2, he's not on his way into the pits, he's on his way out of the pits. He's on an outlap. And he's looking to improve, and it's going to have to be quite the improvement. Currently 26.9, he's going to have to find at least 4/10 if he wants to dethrone Mango. Remember, some of these drivers have said that they haven't practiced and that was their first run. So they will likely get quicker. It's Ferrari on an outlap. The lead McLaren. Currently we still sit with the 18 drivers. No one else has joined. Obviously if anyone does join, Ace of Pace will fall further back as a result of it being a DSQ. It means confirmed final slot. Here we go. Second fast lap for Azur. Fantastic first lap, 26.9. And then was beaten by quite the margin, and I didn't expect that. 26.5. How much more can these lap times come down? P2 is on a fast lap. P1, 3 and 4 are all on outlaps. So still a lot of action to come. France, Arabico, Mango, all on outlaps. Big T, P5, P6, it's Midas, all on fast laps. Very busy racetrack. If you're on an in-lap, watch your mirrors. Don't impede, you don't want it to happen to you. This is the Mercedes driver. First one to start the fast lap. Let's see if he does improve. He does improve, but not enough. 26.7. Has closed that gap. It's no longer half a second. But crucially, still a 2/10 advantage for provisional pole sitter Mango, and he is out there still on an outlap. Looking for a second lap time and to improve on what was already very impressive. Currently the order: Mango, Azur, France and Rabico. 2 Mercedes-Benz in the top 4. Remember, they lead the championship from AlphaTauri. Am I right? I think it's AlphaTauri. No, it's not AlphaTauri. Sorry, it's another team that starts with an A. Mercedes leads from Alpine. So Alpine do need a good result here today. Preferably both cars up in the top 3, double podium, something like that. That's what they need. Championship getting a little out of hand. 50 points the difference. And currently, one of those Alpines, I was going to say, is out of the top 10, but not anymore. Cheddar improves. Goes up to P5. And now we have those championship contenders, the 2 Mercs, the 2 Alpines, all in the top 6. This is Mango returning to the pits, 26.5. I wonder if he gave up on that lap. Seems to be the case. Here is France for Alpine. Very different looking livery for 2024. Basically this livery minus about 70% of the paint. Let's see if Franz is able to improve. He is in sector 3. If he isn't going to improve, we'll see him dive into the pits, because there we go, it takes an awful lot of ERS energy around this circuit, and if you're not going to improve, you're definitely not going to get a second run. Azur on an outlap, 26.7, his previous best. Needed to find 4/10, was only able to find 2. And now he's trying to close the rest of the gap. Mango did go out looking to improve on that lap time and aborted the lap, came into the pits. Big T, Midas, also on outlaps. Buffelsfontein. Is he starting a fast lap? That's right, he is starting a fast lap. Currently P13, 128.0. Looking to break into the 127s. They're not far away. And then if you look at that field in the 127s, it's incredibly close. So slight improvement could make a big difference where you start. Thiago feeling a little left out. When will you be driving again? By Wednesday I will have commentated on Japan 3 times. In what, 5 days? Crazy stuff. Azur on a fast lap, currently in P2, looking for an improvement, needs to find an improvement of about 2.5 tenths. Sector 1 was just 3 thousandths off his previous best, so he's pretty much on the limit. Mango still provisional pole, 26.5. He is on an outlap. Remember, he aborted his previous run. That provisional pole was his first run. Now Azur runs wide on the exit of Spoon, aborts the lap immediately. And that's how difficult Suzuka can be. It's a long circuit. It's a fast circuit. You use a lot of ERS. And if you have to abort the lap in the closing stages of the lap, you cannot get that energy back for a second run. France has retired from the session. He will start no better than 3rd place. We'll be hoping for no one behind him to improve as there does stay out. Don't know if he's going to have enough battery energy to put a fast lap in. Here we ride with Mango as he winds up for a fast lap. Let's ride on board with him. And there we go into turn 1, turn 2. So much undulation in those 2 corners. Then we enter the S's, left, right, left again. Past the famous Ferris wheel. And now we approach the Degnas. They look like the same corner, but you've got to approach them differently. Checkered flag has already fallen for some of the drivers. Mango going through the hairpin, looking for an improvement on his provisional pole time, 26.5. Azur is out there. He's going through the final chicane. Is he either going to dive into the pits or he's going to look to better that time? He's staying out on track. And he's got the checkered flag and he has not improved. Brand's out on track as well. Mango approaching the end of this fast lap. See, does the provisional pole sitter improve? No, he doesn't. 26.518. That remains the best. Brand still out on circuit, currently P4, 26.8. Just 3 tenths off provisional pole. Any improvement will do, but there's no improvement. 26.8 it is. And I think that's pretty much a checkered flag for everyone. Neil does improve 2 places, goes up into P7. And I think that is your qualifying session. There we go, there's your official results at the end of qualifying for round 6 in Suzuka, Japan. Mango takes provisional pole, Azur P2 for Mercedes, France P3, Brands P4, then we've got Cheddar P5, Rabico P6, Neil P7, Ferrari P8, Big T P9 and Midas makes up the top 10. Below that, we've got Grimjaw P11, Pantry Star P12, Mr. Rem P13, Shark 14, Buffelsfontein 15, Andre 16, Loki 17, Logic 18, Wizards 19, and Ace of Pace, who was disqualified from the session, so he will start right at the back, and that is confirmation of 20 drivers. And there we go, there's the empty pit lane because all the cars are to the right. We can't see them. The guys will be doing their final touch-ups to strategy. Any adjustments to setup that are allowed under Parc Fermé if needed, they will be making those adjustments. And then obviously the choice to overfuel or underfuel. And if you did watch the race last night here on this channel at Suzuka, there were a lot of safety cars. But then again, you could underfuel and get no safety cars. And then you're going to have a very heavy car at the end. It's a roll of the dice. There we go. 5 red lights. Remember, turn 1, turn 2, the S's here on lap 1, so important. Has everyone got through cleanly? Seems to be the case. That is the first mission completed, getting through the first sequence of corners here in Japan on lap 1 without any major incident, and the guys have been able to do that. Mango leads the way, France P2, Azur has lost a position, he's down to P3. Then we have Brands and Cheddar, Rabico P6, there's your possible pit strategies, a 2-stop or a 3-stop, wonder what the guys will come up with. Mango still leads the way, he's already broken that crucial DRS zone, and we're still 2 laps away from DRS. France coming under all sorts of pressure there on the exit of Spoon. But Azur has problems of his own with a Ferrari all over his wing. These cars will be crying for DRS. Obviously, update to the F1 rules in 2024. DRS will now become available on lap 2, and after a safety car, it will become available after just 1 lap. Cheddar now up into P4. We've got the 2 Alpines in the top 4, the 2 Mercedes in the top 5. Those are your 2 constructors leaders. They are separated by 50 points. Championship leader down in P5. If they're able to keep him there, this will be a good opportunity for the other drivers to close up in the championship. There we go again, 2-stop, 3-stop. And there are your tyre selections. Seems like that's 6 drivers in the field have chosen to start on the hard compound. 1 driver has decided to start on the soft compound. And then the rest of your field starting on the medium. The medium seems to be the most popular choice. Mango still leads. France has closed that gap crucially for him because DRS will become active shortly. And it's crucial to be within that 1 second. France sets the fastest lap from P2. So he definitely has the pace. He's just 3/10 of a second behind the leader. 4/10 now, but DRS will become a factor. But it's really gonna come down to, as well as battery management in these early stages. Depends, is the leader using all his battery to stay in front, or is P2 using all their battery to catch up? But for now, everything has been neutralized. Loki on the soft tyre, the only soft runner. He has retired from the race, first retirement. Down to 19 runners on lap 3, virtual safety car. And unfortunately for Big T and Buffelsfontein at the back of the field, just a virtual safety car. They would have liked their full safety car so they could catch up to the rest of the field. Things neutralized for now. In the meantime, Mango still leads from France. Now we've got the two Mercedes in the top 4, P3, P4. Awfully long virtual safety car, DRS enabled. As I say it ends. We're back underway. Mango leads the way. 6/10 of a second is the gap. Then we have the two Mercedes. Azure leading Rabico, and we have a full safety car. We have a full course safety car. One of the Ferraris, that is Brands. Brands has retired. He becomes the second retirement. And I wonder if that will trigger any pit stops. Still very early on in the race. And I think if you started on anything other than softs, it would be too early to stop and get rid of those tires. Lots of life in the hards and still lots of life in the mediums. So I don't think we will see too many pit stops under this early safety car unless drivers have some damage. And folks, I don't know if you can see that, but I saw it. I certainly saw it. I was saying I don't think we're going to see any movement in the pits, but I think we're about to see a lot of movement in the pits. There's raindrops. There's little raindrops. You may think it's a little too early to pit, but by the end of the safety car, this track may be soaked. We don't know how intense this rain will be. Will it take us to the end of the race? Will it dry up? Well, any strategy they may have had, now everything has changed. Jacques still out there on the soft tyre, Big T and Buffelsfontein still out there on the medium compound. Mango, Neil and Wizards, well, the three Ferrari powered cars at the front of the field, the two Haas and the Alfa Romeo, Mango, Neil, Wizards, they have chosen not to pit. So they will either pit under safety car once this field has already gotten very close together, which means they're going to come out at the back of the field. Surely they can't start the race on those tires. I think they just left it a little late. Just that second thought of should I pit, should I not, is it too early? Well, when you consider you may be spending the next 3 laps behind a safety car going slowly, that track could look very different at the race start. And I think everyone who jumped in for the intermediate tyre made the right choice. Not sure Jacques made the right choice. Not sure if that was a pit mistake, a Williams mistake, or a Jacques mistake. Jacques has also pit, I presume for the intermediates. But he has emerged from the pits on the soft compound. So surely he's going to have to pit again. Now Mango comes into the pits. Neil decides to stay out there on the medium. He wants track position. Mango has damage. Thanks for that, Skull. I didn't see that myself. But unfortunately for him, oh goodness me. Oh goodness me, I can tell you what's happened here. Well, I can't be certain, but I can tell you what I think has happened here. Mango got disconnected either just before going into the pits or in the pits. And when the Ghost car took control, they decided to put on a set of mediums. So he's emerged from the pits on a set of mediums. He's going to have to return to the pits, put on a set of intermediates. I think he has returned to the lobby, but he hasn't returned to the control of that car. That car is still ghosting. As for Neil at the front, just having a suspicious look at his car to see if he is maybe ghosting, because he has not made the decision to pit, and these conditions don't look good. If anyone in the comment section is in contact with any of the drivers, let me know. Time length on this rain. Is this to the end? Is this going to be a short spell and then we get back on the dries? The drivers will obviously have a better idea. Definitely something they could add to the game in spectator mode is let the commentator know what the weather's going to be like. Safety car pulls off into the distance, and Neil will be in charge of the restart. We'll see if he just dives into the pits or if he does attempt the restart. He does attempt the restart and no traction at all. France, Azure, everyone. There we go, Neil coming back, but he's going to have no grip. No grip, as predicted. Runs wide, goes over the runoff, and he's going to lose a lot of positions. Neil out of the top 10, just like that, into P11. Your new leader, McLaren, it's Ferrari, leads the race. Azure P2, France P3, and the rain has shaken things up. From the little information we have, apparently this will be a short spell. I wonder if Neil was thinking the spell would be so short he could stay out on the medium. Of course, that did happen once in a race involving Ayrton Senna. A very short stint of rain, and he decided he was going to drive throughout that short rain stint with the dry tyre. It lasted 8 or 9 laps, and somehow the Rainmaster was able to match the lap times of the drivers on the wet. Approximately 10 minutes of rain, I'm being told. That means it's not going to be a very long time until we see a very populated pit lane yet again. And with the drivers not being too far apart, and in some cases teammates being line astern, as is the case for Alpine, we could have double stacking in the pit lane. Things could get quite messy. You don't want to be out there on the wrong tyre compound. It costs you so much time. I feel that the track evolution on this game when it comes to the weather, it just seems like the track gets wet a lot quicker. Start to see the drizzle, and within a lap it looks like this. Conditions don't look good. Hopefully they don't get any worse and there's no blue tyres needed. Hopefully it only eases from here. It's Ferrari coming under pressure for that lead. Now remember, the Mercedes driver will not have DRS regardless of him being within that second because of the rain conditions. So passing is going to be that little bit more difficult. He's not going to have that additional boost. He's not going to have that help. He's going to have to rely on his pace. And hopefully putting its Ferrari under enough pressure to force a mistake. Two Alpine still line astern, P3, P4. Logic P5, he has lost his teammate. And your championship leader, second of the two Mercedes tonight, he's in P6. Midas, the only Red Bull, his teammate became the first retirement of the race. And then Grimjaw P8, Pantry Star P9 and Mr. M making up the top 10. Ooh, we have a spin, we have a big spin. It's a Mercedes. It's Azur, it was the leading Mercedes. He's back underway, trying to get momentum. And by the time he does get momentum, he slots in behind its Midas. And just like that, he's in P7. He's coming back at Midas. Wants a position back immediately, and he gets a position back immediately. Brave driving in the rain so soon after a spin. Getting right back on it. And Azur will be back on his way from P6. Next target down the road for him will be his teammate Don Rabico, now the leading Mercedes. Good result so far for Alpine if they could bring it home like this. Currently P2, P3. Trying to close that Constructors' Championship lead of 50 points. And a result like this would certainly go a long way to helping them close that gap. But remember, the two Mercedes still very much in this race. Mango. 3-second time penalty for Mango. And the Haas driver will be going from slightly unimpressed to quite annoyed. Race was looking good for him, but now he's in P16 with a penalty. And he'll be looking to rebuild this race. Still so much can happen. We're going to probably swap back onto softs at some stage. We may still have safety cars. And that timing screen can flip. We've seen it in the past. Speaking of safety cars, I really shouldn't even utter that phrase, because most of the time when I do, that happens. Second Red Bull on the night retires. It's Midas joins his teammate in the DNF column. Both Red Bulls. No points for Red Bull tonight. And we're back under safety car. Can't blame the drivers. These are some difficult conditions. Welcome, Etienne. Yeah, you got here just in time to see the commentator's curse. I utter the possibility of a safety car, and suddenly we get a safety car. Now this may mix things up even more than you think. This will obviously bring Neil back to the rear of the field, but more importantly, how long will this safety car last? And by the end of it, what will the track look like? If the track does begin to ease up and dry up, which at the moment it doesn't look like it's doing, then that will be fine. But if the track is 2 or 3 laps away from drying out, then we could have a field that is extremely close together and everyone needs to make a pit stop. So that timing sheet doesn't count for much. The order now, due to some pit stops, it's Ferry, leads from France. Logic P3, one of the drivers to have lost his teammate. The other driver to lose a teammate was Jacques. So just the one Williams, the one Ferrari. And then we have seen the demise of both Red Bulls. Their junior team flying the flag for Red Bull. AlphaTauri P6, P8. You know, if Helmut Marko was in charge, its Midas would be in an AlphaTauri next week. But fortunately, he knows nothing of the virtual world. Obviously, this is round 6 of season 6, SAFRL Tier 1, lap 12 of 27, and we are under safety car. We've lost 4 runners, we're down to 16, started with 20, and I think within the next sector or so, the field will come together. Could see an end to the safety car as soon as this lap. We will wait for confirmation. But it seems like this rain has not eased up. Looks to me to be the same. Sort of planed out. It's not getting any worse, but it's not getting any better. This is Pantry Star leading AlphaTauri. There is confirmation. Safety car will be in this lap. There we go. He's pulling off into the distance, and it's Ferry is taking control of leading that pack. Look, it looks like a bit of a mess at the back there. Not sure what's happening there. Hopefully we don't see a whole handful of penalties, but things did look messy at the rear of the field. We get a restart. Looks like the Alpine got a better start than the McLaren. France pulls to the inside in the rain into turn 1. Cold tyres. And that was very brave. So brave that the commentator's curse strikes again. Goes off to the inside, hits a barrier, maybe just missed the barrier. We don't see any damage, has all his end plates. France got lucky, stays in P3, but it's Ferrari. He gets back the lead of the race that he briefly lost in turn 1. Logic P2, this race has come nicely to him, and that Alpine struggling in the wet. France just not agreeing with the conditions, losing another position now into the hairpin. Ravico coming into his own in the rain. Different drivers prefer different conditions, and sometimes the fastest of drivers just don't like the rain. Wizards rejoins the session, so that will explain why he's at the rear of the field. It's Ferrari leads, Gap is a second. Ooh, and he goes over the grass. Very wide there on the entry to the corner. I wouldn't have gone that wide. You don't want to get on the grass in the rain. You can see he's lost a lot of momentum and Logic. Logic takes the lead of this race, and all of a sudden the Ferrari leads the way. Something Fred Vasseur would love to hear in 2024. The Ferrari leads the way. It's Ferrari recovering from that incident. So easy to make a mistake in the rain. Sometimes mistakes you can get away with in the dry can be crucial in the rain. Track like this requires so much concentration throughout, but the rain makes it even more of a challenge. Wizards joining and leaving the lobby multiple times. Hopefully that doesn't cause any issues for the drivers out on track. I don't see any issues from my side. Long DRS train for the lead of the race from P1 down to P6. Not for Grimjaw, sorry. P1 down to P4 is a DRS train. DRS train, but crucially there's no DRS because we're in the rain. Wizards again joins. Hopefully no issues for the drivers out on track. Logic leads the way. Hasn't really been able to pull away at the front. Gap actually starting to get a little comfortable, approaching the 1 second mark. And now Ravico goes to the inside to defend. The Alpine was getting awfully close, then Ravico pulled to the inside, almost looked like he was giving him the position, but that was not what he was doing. There's no DRS, we're in the rain. That was a defensive move, and it worked perfectly. Winsett saying that his game has crashed. It's unfortunate sometimes for these drivers, putting in a lot of practice only for the game or their internet connection to let them down, and sometimes it's difficult to even tell which one it was. Logic leads, 1.1 seconds is the gap. It's Ferrari keeping in touch. Ravico is still under pressure from the Alpine. He will have the inside line, but the Alpine holds on. Will he be able to get it stopped? That's what's crucial in the rain. Does get it stopped, and France back up into P3. The two Mercedes very close together. They've got to be so careful not to run into each other. Mistakes can happen in the rain. You think you've given the guy enough room, but you have a little bit of a slide, and that's the end of that. There we go. That Alpine now runs wide. I think both Mercedes are going to get by, and they do. They do. Both Mercedes, constructors, leaders, up into P3 and 4. And France, he will be cursing that chicane. Rain still falling. No easing up of the rain. So for now, no thoughts on pit stops, no thoughts on tyres. Three-second time penalty for Wizards. I presume that means Wizards has rejoined the lobby. Or his AI is getting penalties for him. That can't be fun. Shark's gone into the pits. So he comes out of the pits in P16 at the rear of the field. Must have had damage. So easy to get damage on a track surface like this. Suzuka is hard enough, can catch out any driver. But when the rain starts to fall, it's very different. You've got to remember that when it comes to practice time, these guys do so much more time in the dry. So even your best drivers can make a silly mistake. Logic leads, that gap continuing to grow, 1.4 seconds. Don't know if it's just me, but is the rain starting to ease? When it does, the drivers will have to start thinking about their final move. It's lap 17 of 27, so just 10 laps to go. If this rain does ease in the next couple of laps, that means they'll only have 7 or 8 laps to the end of the race. And I presume if they have one available, everyone is going to go on the soft compound. Remember, if rain is involved, there is no longer the need for using 2 compounds. Remember, Formula 1 does not have a mandatory pit stop rule. It has a rule where you have to use 2 compounds of tyre, hence the pit stop. But in the rain, that rule falls away. So if you can make a set of intermediates last a 100% race, you don't have to pit. So I think everyone is going to come in, put on a set of softs, if you happen to have a set. Hopefully you didn't use up everything in qualifying. Ace of Pace picks up a 3-second penalty. Mango also has a 3-second penalty, and Wizards has DNF'd from the session. He's had enough. And that means we're down to 15 drivers. Logic 1.1 seconds is the lead as Azura has taken over P2 from its Ferrari. And he has proceeded with starting to close that gap down to the lead. 0.8 of a second is the gap. And I think that rain is easing. I hope it does. Because if it doesn't at the end of the race, I'll sound like a moron. Don Ravico coming on the back of the horse. Mango has had problems of his own in this race. Found his way all the way at the back of the field. Told you things could flip, and they have. He's back up into P5, but he's got that 3-second penalty next to his name that he's got to worry about. You're not going to be able to just win it on the track. Time deltas are going to have to come into it. You're going to have to win it by quite the margin. Such a busy stream, such a quiet comment section. Let me know, guys. Is it easing up? Is it just me? And what do you reckon? I reckon the whole field is going to come out on softs and we're going to have a sprint to the end. Who knows, maybe a 5-lapper to the end. After all of this, we're doing 5-lappers. Azure now challenging for the lead. Will Logic go the defensive route? Will he be able to go the defensive route? Mercedes up the inside. Ferrari hangs on. It's not going to be enough, and if the Mercedes is able to get it stopped, which he is. What a drive. Logic holding on. Outside, inside. Both drivers allowing just enough space. And Azur coming out on top. Logic P2. It's Ferrari P3. And he'll be hoping that battle in front of him continues, because that'll allow him to come back up into this race. France P4, Mango P5. Rabico has fallen off the back of Mango. Those two cars were a lot closer together. Raindrops still falling. As the lap times continue to wind down. Still a few drops on the screen. But you'll see those drops disappear. And then the next thing to watch out for is that spray on the wheels. When that spray disappears, you know the track is changing. Yeah, well said. Definitely great wheel-to-wheel racing in the wet. That's impressive racing in the dry. And when you realize the track surface is wet and these guys are doing it on intermediates, makes it that much more impressive. "15 drivers remain. Of the 20 that started, retirement of Windsors, he was having all sorts of problems, either with the game or his connection. Then both Red Bulls of Midas and Loki, Williams of Bifflesfontein, and the Ferrari of Brands. Mr. Rem makes up a position on Ace of Pace. Another one of the quick drivers that is driving around with a penalty next to his name. Lap 20 of 27. And those raindrops are definitely getting less and less. And if the track evolution is as quick as it usually is, in 2 laps from now we could have a very different surface. And all these drivers' minds will have to go to when everyone will have to finish on the soft, rather on the dry compound. Not going to be able to finish on the inter. It's a matter of when do you go. If you go too early and the track's not ready, it could be a disaster. If you wait a lap too long and you have to drive around on a dry surface using intermediates, that too could be a disaster. So you got to get it just right. And that's right, rain is getting better. You can see visually less raindrops. Remember what I said, when the raindrops end, the next thing you need to look for is the spray on those wheels. And as the spray gets less and less, you'll know that the track is coming closer and closer to the dry compound window. Azur leads the way, 2 seconds is the gap. France in P3, he's defending from its Ferrari. Remember, he led the race not so long ago at the start of the restart. Just gone a little bit backwards in the wet stint of the race. Mango P5, but remember that penalty, it's gonna hurt him at the end. Rabico P6. We have Neil in P7, Grimjaw P8, Pantry Star P9, and Big T making up the top 10. Pantry Star all over the back of Grimjaw, looking for P8. You can see the spray is getting less. The raindrops have disappeared. Now it's a matter of the track drying up. Obviously these intermediate tyres can clear a lot of water. For all the cars going around, it's just going to take a couple of laps. And yeah, just saying soft, I agree. I think the only drivers we will see that are not on softs are drivers who simply don't have a set of softs available. But anyone who does will definitely go on the soft. Seems like the leaders are staying out. Nobody doing anything crazy. The only driver to try do something crazy, Mr. Rem. Try and watch this car, see how the track, or rather how the softs react to this surface. And as you can see, Mr. Rem getting a lot of spray off those tires. And you're not supposed to be getting spray off a slick tire like that. When we joined him, the gap to Cheddar was 20 seconds. It's now 25 seconds. You can see he's just really struggling to get the car slowed down. He may have gone just a little too early. Now an entire pit stop behind Cheddar. 26 seconds. Still too wet for now, it seems, for Mr. Rem. But remember, lap 22 of 27, this track evolves quite quickly, and surely there's going to be a change before lap 27. And if it comes sooner than later, it's going to be a very uncomfortable thing to have to finish on intermediates. Drivers will be hoping it stays wet just long enough for them not to have to worry about another pit stop. A pit stop that could dramatically change this field if double stacking comes into effect. Just having a look down the order. No real battles on track, everybody pretty spread out. We see a lot of that when rain comes into a race. And this track is starting to... Is it drying up? I don't know, I still see a lot of spray. This is going to come down to the driver, this is going to come down to risk. And if somebody does roll the dice and get it right, it's going to be brilliant. If you're leading the race and you stay out too long, you've thrown it all away. Mr. Rem, remember, he came out on the medium. He's lost a significant amount of time. Remember what I said when he came out of the pits? He was 20 seconds behind Cheddar. He is now 51 seconds behind Cheddar. And we have, well, folks, if a sprint to the end on softs didn't sound exciting, why don't we bring the entire field together, get rid of all the gaps, throw everyone on softs, and have 2 or 3 laps to the end. So that's how you want to end a race. It's going to be interesting for those 2 drivers that did go onto the softs. I don't think they're going to capitalize too much on this, because the whole field will go in for softs, but they were so far behind that they will still be at the back of the field. Another thing to remember for all of these drivers is the track may be getting better, but the track is not dry. You're on softs, you're driving behind the safety car, but you can still easily make a mistake, especially now when you're trying to catch that safety car queue. You forget how quickly you're going on a slick tire on a wet track, and you can find yourself retiring under safety car. Yeah, Skull just I think just went in a little too early, was losing so much time on the softs that that gap got way too big. When everyone else jumped in for softs, he wasn't really able to capitalize on it. driver in the middle of the field that has not stopped. So we've got it seems to be Grimjaw. Don't know if that was an internet thing or an incident thing. No damage to the car. I was saying there's a driver in the middle of the field, and he's right in the middle of the field. He's in 7th out of 14 drivers. Jacques, he's still out there on the Inter. And this will either hurt him very badly, because he's going to have to make a late pit stop when the entire field is close together, or the track remains in this sort of condition and it's a masterclass. But surely in the next few laps this track will not remain in this condition. We're still under safety car, still a few cars lagging at the back, so we're going to have to wait for this field to come together. Then the safety car will come in. It's lap 25 of 27. And we have cars coming in. They're not going to probably be able to catch the queue. I wonder how many racing laps. Guys in the comment section, how many racing laps are we going to get? And I don't know. There's still spray on the track. Maybe the drivers who... Well... Jacques has stayed on the Inter, and France, Rabico and Grimjaw have gone into the pits and put on Inters. So it's going to be touch and go, half the field going one way, the other half of the field going the other way, and we might have a one lap shootout, and it will be soft runners versus intermediate runners, and really whoever got it right. Remember, Jacques will be in P5 at the restart. He's got that set of intermediates. And if the track is indeed not ready for the soft compound, or for the dry compound rather, then Jacques could come through that field with all four cars in front of him running wide. Yeah, Etienne just saying he thinks the Inters were the right choice. Raindrops stopped ages ago. But for some reason, still a lot of spray on the track. And I think it's too much spray for a dry tire. This is just bad news for the Tier 2 drivers who usually watch this to get a couple of hints. The rain ain't going to give you any hints. Safety car will be in this lap, so that will be 2 laps of racing, lap 26 and 27. And if the intermediate is the right compound, then it means that the top 4 drivers, Azure, Logic, Mango and It's Free, are going to have to deal with this track for 2 entire laps, almost 12 kilometers. No help for the Tier 2 drivers at all. Here we go. We're going to see now in the first couple of corners, is this track dry tire ready? Azure leads from Logic, Mango P3, and Jacques already making progress. He's up into P4. France just behind him, also making progress on the medium tire. Rabico making progress on the medium tire. At this point in time, seems like if you're on the soft, you're just a sitting duck. How good is your defensive driving? Top 3 still all on dry tires. The next best 3 all on Inters. Top 6 Azure, Logic, Mango. Those are your soft runners. Then France, Rabico and Jacques. Those are your Inter runners. Logic has got past Azure and takes over the lead of this race. Maybe just feeling he's falling into the grips of those Inter runners and wants to get on with it. And goodness me, this is a mess. This is a mess. We've had a Haas going sideways. I think that's Mango. Just trying to get confirmation. It is Mango. Mango's gone sideways at the end of the race here. That's not going to help him. There was a late safety car. It means he could come out at the back of the field. He's come out in P11. Back to the front. Logic leads the way. Azure P2. Then we have France, the top intermediate runner. He's in P3. And what condition will this track be in for the final lap of the race? Has France timed this just right? I think he has. We'll see now who's got the superior grip into turn 1. Oh, and there's contact. There's contact between the Mercedes and the Alpine, but the Alpine comes out on top. No damage. Hopefully no harm, no foul. And France up into P2. 0.4 of a second is the gap. 0.3. 0.2. And Logic will have his heart in his mouth. And he'll be holding on for all he's got. But he has to give up the position. Doesn't have the grip through Degner 1. Would definitely not have the grip through Degner 2. Gives up the position. France leads the way into the hairpin. And on the final lap of the race, France has timed this just perfectly. Grimjaw also on a set of intermediates. Don't know if he's close enough to pass Logic as well. As for your championship leaders, Mercedes, P4 and P7. A victory for Alpine could be crucial. There we go, France. Doesn't seem like Grimjaw has done just enough. What a drive from Logic to get those last 2 laps done on the soft. And does he hold on to the position? It's going to be touch and go. He does. There we go. France takes the victory. It was going to be a roll of the dice. The track might have dried up on the last 2 laps. And if you were on Inters, it would have been a disaster. But it went the other way. And if you got on a fresh set of Inters, the race came to you at the end. Logic, driver of the day, and I think he deserves that. He had to finish this race on slicks and was still able to get P2. There are your official results for round 6 here in Suzuka. France takes the victory for Alpine. P1 also takes the fastest laps, so 26 points for him. Logic P2, good result for Ferrari. Azure P3. Then we have Jacques in P4, Grimjaw P5, Cheddar P6, Ravico P7, Pantry Star P8, It's Ferry P9, and Big T makes up the top 10. Finishing the race but no points tonight, we've got Andre in P11, Mango P12, Ace of Pace P13, and Mr. M makes up the field. In your DNF column, you have DRS Neil, Wizard, Midas, Bifflesfontein, Brands, and your first retirement of the evening, Loki. I want to thank all the viewers we got here this evening, everybody who contributed in the comment section, everybody who kept me updated with the weather. Thanks to everyone who joined. Some of you were here last night for Suzuka. You came back tonight for more Suzuka. And I can tell you something. There's even more Suzuka. And it's coming on Wednesday night. SAFRL will be back on Wednesday night to do it all again with a different set of drivers at the same circuit. We will see you then. And until then, cheers.